Hey everyone! Today we're going to make some neon rainbow crystal soaps. I'll probably call them space crystals for reasons. What you see me doing here now is taking you to a throwback. I did some tie-dye soaps not so long ago, and as I was emptying my buckets of very bright neon colors available at Mad Micah's, yes, I am an affiliate, and there is an affiliate link in my description. Should you choose to buy some of these through my link, I will receive a small percentage. So as I'm emptying my buckets, I had enough along the edges to pull away from the sides of the bucket after it dried and create these little weird thin sheets. It's kind of like what I do in my chiffon rainbow, but not as neat and not as uniform. And that's kind of the idea of using these. I didn't want it to be neat and uniform because it's a crystal. And so I wanted some really interesting inclusions, and I wanted to use up my rainbow scraps for something. And so, since I love to make crystals, I thought I'd give this a try. I think I'm using the same fragrance I used in my tie-dye soaps, which was unicorn sprinkles. I think it didn't even come close to tinting the soap, which is great. It's a very good fragrance for not clouding and not coloring. So I'm just stirring it in. You see me scraping along the edge there around the top. That's something I'll talk about a little bit more in my fragrance video coming up, but it helps to keep the oil that gathers along the top from not getting mixed in. All right, so I poured the clear Wholesale Supplies Plus Crafter's Choice Premium Crystal Clear soap is what I use for my art soaps. And I poured that at 130 degrees. Yes, I do want these to melt a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm sprinkling in a little mica. I know I'm a little behind here, what's going on, but I sprinkled in some mica, and I keep doing it throughout. That's the one thing I kind of regret about this. I always try to find something within each video that I would do differently. And that's the one thing. It doesn't ruin the soaps. They come out gorgeous. I'm really pleased with them. But I would have added more something like Sparkle Plenty, or some other type of just plain soap glitter or mica that glitters, rather than this mica with glitter in it, because it's way more of a mica type. So it gets a little color in there. It's not bad. Some of it sinks to the bottom. You'll see me gesturing at that when I pick up the unmolded piece. It really doesn't ruin the soap. It's just not quite what I imagined it to be. I was hoping for kind of a silver glitter effect in this, but it really isn't a glitter. So that was my bad. It's a gorgeous mica. Interstellar, I think is Interstellar from Mad Micas. It's one I bought to do my nebula soaps with. And there I just keep adding. And, part of the problem is I probably added too much as well. But I'm just shoving these in and adding more soap. One of the keys to having a soap that you want pieces to intentionally melt a little bit in, but you don't want to completely cloud the soap. I still want the clarity, is to not mess with it too much. And you see I am moving things a little with that stick, but I wasn't stirring, and I wasn't I wasn't swirling. I just was moving things just a little, making sure they're all down in the soap, because they do want to float, and making sure that any air bubbles have the chance to escape. I was very pleased that I didn't get air bubbles in this soap. And I don't know where the footage of the unmolding went. It's just gone, so I apologize. We're moving right to the cut, but the cut is kind of important in this one. If I were just making this like a regular loaf soap, I would have pulled out my Uncle Andy's I love that, my soap guillotine. But these, although they would have looked cool sliced, I believe, I wasn't sure they would, and I was kind of going for a crystal look. So I'm doing my crystal cut. And I don't know that I've shown you this before, but I cut it in half. And then I line the blade up so you basically have 1/3 on one side and the opposite 1/3 on the other, making a diagonal, and about 2/3 on. It's just estimated. I never measure that. I just eyeball it. And then you'll see I'm going to take that, put it kind of back together so I have that shape again, that rectangle, and then I turn it, and for some reason I couldn't get the picture inside my head for this one, but I cut an X basically on a diagonal. So you just have to find where the opposite side is and make an X. Again, with 1/3 on one edge and 2/3 on the other. So, and that's just an estimate. You can do whatever you want. You can cut whatever kind of chunks you want for crystals. This is just my way of doing it and keeping them semi close in shape and in weight. I don't like to have to, weigh each individual one and put the weight on there. These, I know they're all going to be above a certain amount. And so I put the lowest amount that any of these soaps weighs on my labels. So after I cut this little batch here, one thing I wanted to point out is, you see me twisting? That's a tip if you have not come across that before. If you have a difficult time pulling your soap away from your knife or cutter or whatever, twist it rather than pull it. It's much easier and much less chance of some type of incidents. I mean, obviously you're always going to be aware of how close your hands are to the blade, and you don't want to do anything with a knife in your hands and be in a hurry. Take your time. This is sped up. I take my time with everything. It's just the way I am. But particularly when there's a knife involved and a very sharp edge, and the double-bladed cheese knife, which is what I use to cut larger pieces. That was what you saw me cutting these into crystal shapes with. It's very sharp. You can cut yourself just cleaning it, and I've done that, so that was fun. I'm using my little vegetable peeler to help facet the tops of these. I normally use a very small little kitchen knife that is obviously not been used in the kitchen, but I couldn't find it, so I just went ahead and did these with that. It just didn't work very well. I think I need a new one. I think it's dull and needs to be replaced. Since I got it probably at the dollar store, I don't think it's actually worth trying to. I don't even know if people do sharpen vegetable peelers, but anyway, I need a new one. And again, I'm spritzing, and I say again because I've explained this a couple of times, but I know not everybody watches every single video. I spritz with alcohol to bring out the clarity, particularly on film, because it doesn't always show up on videos, and it doesn't always show up in photographs. So I spritz before I take pictures, and I spritz before or in the video, so you can see what it really looks like. That clarity is really important in my soaps. At least I know not everybody uses the clear, but doing art soaps, that's what I typically do. The clarity is part of what drew me to Melt&PourSoap. I've always kind of been drawn to clear art, glass art, that type of thing, gemstones, sparkly things. So that's why I typically use that. It's just, I don't know, I'm very drawn to it. So here we have some of these crystals finished. I don't cut all of them on video because it gets a little boring after a while watching that. They come out so cool. I do have probably way more pictures than I normally do at the end because they just came out so cool. And I wanted you to see the effect. These are scraps. This took nothing to make. This was so easy. You see, I mean, the cuts, you know, you could cut it however you want. Like I said, you can facet it more than I did. You could facet the bottoms and make it more of a little bit of a rock shape. I kind of picture the chunky, I can't think of the name of the style of crystal, but I've bought them before. But basically a chunky rough cut um, facet. Not, you know, it's not a highly polished diamond facet or something, but I've bought gemstones like this before, so I started liking the way my soaps came out in this cut. And it's not super specific. I'm faceting the right angles, basically, and just keeping it, getting it as faceted as I can without, I don't really facet the bottoms. I don't know, it just makes them a little wobbly, I think, when they're sitting, and I like them to be a little more stable. But I have done that in the past, just not as much of a fan, and I think you get just as much of a faceted look by just faceting the top edges mostly, and then you see I kind of come in at the edge, toward the bottom with a couple of the cuts. I always try to do at least one of those cuts that I facet the top side of one corner and then start at the point and facet it inward toward the bottom. I always try to do one or two, and to me it makes it look a little bit more like a crystal rather than just a chunk of soap that has a few facets on it. I was really pleased with these. They came out really well, I think. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It's an easy soap for how pretty it comes out. If you have questions, you know where to find me, I hope. Thank you so much for joining me. Please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, and I hope to see you real soon. I will be doing a lot more crystals, so hopefully I will see you then. Thanks so much. Bye.